What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Parrot Press. Season 5 is up and running in MFL, and this video is all about how the first two games went and also the signings that I made since our last video around about 7 or 8 days ago. So let's get into that first. When we last left, I had a gap at left back, I had a gap at right mid, and I didn't have any real depth in the game, in my agency. Now, I did say that my game strategy or my season strategy was to sign some loan players, get in the odd kind of players here and there, and not spend too much money. And I think that I've done that in terms of the split, but I have bought the next 5 or 6 players. So first up is Domingo Alves, who plays left back. He can play left mid as well. But if we look at that, he's a 62 overall. You can't see it because my camera's over here, but you can see it here. He's a 62 overall. Decent pace at 74, decent defensive. He's kind of like an all-rounder. He's got good passing as well. So I think he was born in 2024. Sorry, he's 24 years of age, but I think he was born. Yes, he was. So I'm expecting some decent progression on him. Hopefully we can get some of that. But he entered the club and he's already done pretty well for us as a left back and covering that midfield. But we've also got William Schultz coming in as well, a 23-year-old right midfielder. Again, all-rounder. I kind of like that in terms of right mid and left mid having a bit of defensive responsibility or defensive know-how about them, and he's got 60 defensive there. Annoying that he can't really play anywhere else, but overall he's a 59 rated and he does the job in certain areas. Probably his best stat there, apart from his pace, is obviously his dribbling. So 23 years of age, I'm hoping that he can do the business as well. And then we made another purchase, a 24-year-old striker, Roberto Napoli from Italy, an overall rated of 59, some decent pace there, 68, decent shooting at 64. Got a bit of physical about him, a bit of dribbling about him as well, but obviously no defensive attributes, which I don't really care about, to be quite honest with you, obviously as a forward. But as a 24-year-old, again, he was kind of born this year in terms of the progression. There's been nothing so far in the first couple of weeks, but hopefully some good things can come of him as well. And being at a 59 rated, I hope to get him up to 63, 64, but we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Then I bought a 25-year-old that's been around a little bit. But the reason why I bought him in is because really I was kind of up against it and I couldn't. Prices were just getting higher and higher. And I don't know what I actually bought him for. Does it tell me? Yeah, $12 down here it tells us, doesn't it? I'm still getting used to the UI and stuff, or making my way around this site. But $12 comes in. He's got obviously insane pace, good shooting, but he's kind of an all-rounder again. Now, it does let him down a little bit in the defensive. I quite like a centre mid to have higher defensive defence stats or attributes than that. But if we look at it overall, we can see there that he's got a bit about him in terms of his physicality in there, which I quite like. And he's got a shot on him as well. So overall, I'm happy with the purchase in terms of what I've actually paid. And I don't see him, you can see from his progression there. Let me just make that a bit bigger. But he's not going to have any progression. We kind of know that, right? The last 4 years, he's done basically nothing. If I can squeeze 1 or 2 out of him, that would be good. But if not, is what it is. He's going to be in there and he's going to be at this kind of level at this club for the foreseeable future. Or if I purchase another club, you know, he can do the business there as well, hopefully. Couple more before we get on to how the season started. I bought a 30-year-old. All right, again, I kind of come into that place where I didn't have much cover going into the season. And this guy at 30 years of age, he can play left back, he can play left mid, and he can play right back. And that's one area, again, I'll come on to this, but fullbacks that I'm lacking. Now, is he a fullback? No, he's not a good fullback. But where he does excel is playing as a left midfielder. He's got good physicality, really good pace, and decent dribbling as well. So, and a decent shot on him. I don't know if I said that or not, but yeah, as a left midfielder, I think he's like a 60 rated or something. So it gives me cover there from the guy that I've currently got there at the moment, who is a bit of a beast. He can play fullback, as I said. He's not the worst there. So it does give me a little bit of cover at left back. If I'm playing against a weaker opponent, I can give them guys a little bit of a respite. But the right back that I've got, if you remember, he's on loan, and he needs to play 15 games anyway. So yeah, it's an area that's a little bit of a gap at the moment, and we'll come on to that in a bit. But the last purchase that I made was cover at that right mid spot. So William Schultz, kind of backup or rotation piece, is this guy as well. Tihomir Jurisic from Croatia, a 29-year-old, again, just born into the game, but decent pace, decent all-round stats. For that right mid, good dribbler as well. So hopefully, again, we can get some good progression out of this guy and get a few more stats in there as well. But that leads me on to how has the season started? Well, the season has started very, very well, and there's probably quicker ways of getting to this, but let's talk about the first game. The first game that we had here, playing a 4-4-2, and I'll come on to that again in a minute. But yeah, 5 goals scored. 2-0 up at half time. It was 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, 4-2, 5-2. I think it was something like that. Anyway, but overall, decent. I'm glad that this guy has finally started to show up, Lecoq, because in the friendlies that I was playing, he was actually pretty shit. But he's had a really, really good start. 23 years of age, as we know. I've got him on loan as well. So I'm expecting a bit of progression for him while he's at my club, to then go back to Obi-Wan and, hopefully do really, really well for him. But he turned up there wearing the captain's armband. We've got Parodi as well, who's on loan, coming up with the 2 goals. Really decent pace there, decent shooting, really bad passing, but so that I've made his individual things to be like less risky or something, whatever that mode is. But yeah, really good start. I didn't 50-50 in terms of possession, but I was expecting that because I do have a direct style of play on, so I'm not expecting to dominate games unless it's against a really weak opponent. But yeah, 7 shots on target, 18 shots in total. I was clearly the stronger team here. And then that led me into the second game, which was last night. A little bit of rotation in there. I think I changed the right mid. Yeah, Jurisic come in for Schultz. We got Halvarsen. I've hyped this guy up. Hopefully he can live up to it as well. He come in there for Lewandowski, and I think that's what I kept. Yeah, it was just two rotations in there. But as you can see there, what I just said, contrary to what I just said about possession, we did dominate possession here, but I think it's because it was just a weaker opponent, right? But a 6-0, I was 5-0 up at half time. Parma manager clearly got into them at half time, right, because they tightened the ship a little bit, and we didn't score for the next from 49 minutes onwards basically. But goalkeeper wasn't too busy from my end, but 10 shots and 7 on target again, which I like to see that kind of ratio, because it just shows that 7 out of 10, as it says there, are being on target. So shooting, we're not being wasteful in chances, we're picking our right opportunities to shoot, and clearly getting them on target as well. So yeah, another decent start. So what does that look like in terms of the league? As you can tell there, I'm sitting in second at the moment. 2 games, 2 wins, and the next 2 games are against a couple of decent outfits, I think. So we've got Kirk Cowdy, even though that he's had 2 losses, he's not got a bad squad in there as well. But the game after that, and this is where it comes into, let me just flip to schedule as well. The game after that is against Blockbusters, and Blockbusters is predicted to win this league. And let me show you why. So how do I get to his team without... is that right? So view club page, there we go. He's got the best squad in the league. You can see here he's got 3 players that are over, that are 65 or over, and then everybody else is in the high 60s for what are these called, limited players are. But yeah, it's all 64s in there as well. So when I play him, I don't know what formation he's actually playing, so let's just take a look at that. His first game here against Kirkcaldy, he's playing a 4-4-2, which is quite interesting, which stacks up against me and my 4-4-2. Maybe it's going to be a thing on tactics, but yeah, he has got a few stars in there that are probably better than me. So it's going to be a tough game. But before we get there, as I said, we've got to play Kirkcaldy. So let's get past that. So talking about tactics, I am rocking a 4-4-2 at the moment. I will need to change that in terms of a little bit of rotation, because I'll need this guy to come in as my sort of main defensive centre mid. when Robinson gets too tired. Question for you guys actually is, at what point do you start to rotate? Obviously, at the moment, they're fresh, they're in good condition. You can tell that by the green. But at what percentage do you let it get to before you rotate, or are you just tinkering all of the time to keep it above like that 97 or whatever? Because that's just what I'm interested in at the moment. For the next game, I've made a couple of changes. You know, I've brought out my kind of star player, so to speak, Emmanuel Scott. I've brought him out and brought that left mid in, which I talked about, that Vestergaard, the 30-year-old is going to come in. And just to show you actually what he looks like as a left mid, let's take a look. So come on. Yeah, as a fullback, he's a 56, but as a left mid, he's a 59 because of this dribbling stat probably. And he's decent passing, decent shooting, right? Defensive stats, he's not too good. So if I can help it, I don't really want to be playing him as a fullback, but I might have to because when's the transfer market end? What's the best way of doing it? My HQ, is it schedule and then interactive calendar? So okay. So the transfer window ends today, which I wasn't really prepared for. Match day 3 in there as well, but I don't think I've got a match today, have I? It's not today. No, it's not today. It's tomorrow. So I do need to do a bit of business. I need to, I don't really want to buy another player in there, but this is another thing that's caught me out actually, selecting your contract as a free agent. Sometimes I've been like really close to pressing the button to buy somebody, and then I've double checked their contract, or it's told me like the little error thing that pops up and say, you know, are you sure? Because this person is actually out on loan somewhere. But I do need cover in a right back area. I don't know if anybody's watching this who fancies a little loan deal, but I need cover in that right back area and left back area so that I can chop and change a little bit more. It's the one area that I'm struggling on at the moment, and yeah, I'll have a look through here and see if there's anybody that sort of stands out, but that means depositing a little bit more cash, and I don't really want to do that. I have offered in here, you know, going over to Spark and then filtering it by right back area here. I have offered for, I think, both of these two here, Bartoloni and Henke, but this guy, I don't know what he's doing, but I don't even know what his name is. Maybe he's a bot, who knows, but he's just not getting back to me. Excuse me, which is really annoying because this guy here, if I just go back, come on, load up. Yeah, although it's just taken away my filter. Let's just go back in here. Because what would really be good is, where is it gone? What does this happen to anybody else, by the way? It's just like it totally changes its view. You know, those guys have gone, and I can't even do it by Spark, which is a bit weird. But the other way that I can get to it is by going to my club, going to contracts, and you'll see here, this guy would do wonders for me. A left back and a right back. He's got really, really good stats for what I'm after. And he would really tick the box for me. If he comes in, then it seals up my squad for the season, basically. But yeah, we do need to get him in. So overall, happy with the start. Happy with some of the purchases that I've made. I think overall I've got probably one in the starting lineup in my best 11. I've probably got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's about 50%, I would say, in terms of my starting lineup is being on loan and the rest of them coming in there and chopping and changing. Maybe it's a little bit more on that. Maybe it's more like 7. But I'm happy with my tactics at the moment. Kind of just gone from a standard depth, a tight block when we haven't got the ball, but that direct style. I'm still tinkering with that. And as I said, I'm probably going to have to move away from 4-4-2 and at least have that backup to give my main centre mid, this guy, a bit of a rest as and when that comes. But yeah, if you can leave a note down below as to when you guys start rotating, that would really, really help out. But there we go. So if you like this video, hit the like button. If you want to see some more, hit the subscribe button. And before I see you in the future, if you are new to MFL, there is a code, or there's a link, sorry, in the description below. So feel free to sign up and get involved as well. And I'll see you in the future.